All right, so for this, you have two options with which direction you want your canvas. Um, this one, I did it vertically, going up and down, and this one, I'm holding it horizontally just to show you a different option. Um, the painting we're doing today is similar to this right here. It has what's called a blended background. So what a blended background is, we talked about blending last time, where one color fades into the next, into the next, into the next. So it's more like a transition where it gradually changes. Now, don't feel like your painting has to look exactly like mine. The main thing that I want is this blended background, and then I'm going to show you the next steps that I do. And from there, you make the decision what you want to do. So for this bottom here, maybe you want to do a city. Maybe you want a city down here, or maybe you want a town down here, or maybe it's something else, or you want to do the trees, like how I have trees down there. You decide what you do. I just want to show you step by step how to do this blended background and how to do the moon and the cliff and the tree. From there, you decide what you want to do and how you want to take care of the rest. Now, the last one, we had some birds in the sky. Maybe this one, it's nighttime. Maybe you want bats or something different. Maybe you want a plane in the sky. Just be creative. When it's dark, things appear more solid black, so like the silhouette, like we were talking about last time, where it's more like a shadow. So if it's dark out, or if it's really, really bright, so when you have a sunset like our last one, it does create that black silhouette. Now, by the tree, I did that by the moon, I did that lighter, and the reason is it's by the moon. Now, these colors that I chose, you could choose different colors for the tree if you want. I just wanted to do that vibrant pink. If you want to do it like fall colors, the reds, the yellows, red, yellow, orange, or if you want it to be greens, you decide how you want to do that. Maybe you just want it to stay solid black. Maybe you want it black and white. That's up to you. Okay, so step one. Oh, before we move on, I'm sorry. Make sure you have something round that you can trace, and this could be your cup. The cup would work fine, or whatever else you can find that's something that's round, because you are going to have to trace it. I'm actually going to, I'm sorry, I'm going to grab a pencil. Okay, so I'm gonna figure out where I want my moon to go. So for this one, I went pretty high up here. For this one, I'm gonna go I'm gonna go over a little more and right here. You decide where you want it, but just take a pencil and trace something that's a circle. And you want the circle to be kind of big. I mean, this is pretty large for a moon. Let me put the light on this and see if you can see better. Okay, so there's that. Now what I'm gonna do, notice I have all my paint open, I'm ready to go. I also have paper towels. Make sure you have paper towels, that's very helpful. If you have more than just the brush that I sent home, have extra brushes available if you have them. If you don't have them, that's okay. You can still use the one brush and it'll be okay. All right, so for step one, what I'm doing, I'm taking white, kind of a lot of white, and then a little bit of this is kind of like a teal color. This is not going to look exactly like this one. I'm just doing it a little bit different. So white, a little bit of that teal color, and I'm just going back and forth. I'm going to take a little more white. I'm going to take a little more of that teal color. So notice how this one's different. This one's lighter than the one next to it. For this one, I had a little more, I started with the white and I started with this darker blue. So if you prefer the way that looks in comparison to this, feel free to do it that way too. Now I'm going to take just the teal. And remember, I'm not wetting my brush in between. I still have paint on it from the last time. So I'm taking kind of a big scoop of that teal color. I'm gonna need more. Remember, my canvas is horizontally for this one. You could do it either way. It's your choice. And I'm going back and forth, and then where these colors meet, I'm gonna add some white just to create that blend, make it where it blends together a little better than it's doing right now. And I'm just softly going across. Now I'm going to take this teal color, and then I'm going to take some of this dark blue. Teal, dark blue, kind of a lot of both. Lots of back and forth. So then where these two colors meet, I'm going to take only that teal color, kind of a lot, and where the two colors meet, so where you see it's not blended together, I'm just going to go across with just that teal color, do some back and forth until it looks blended. It's actually appears to be, it's getting too dark here, so because of that, I'm going to take white. And I'm trying to fix that spot just so it blends all the way down. And notice how I'm just going across the whole thing until it looks like it blends together. Next I'm taking only this dark blue. It's a lot. There's still teal on it. It was on it from me dipping my brush in it last time. That's okay. I kind of want that actually. That's what's going to help to mix these together well. So I'm going back and forth, and then I'm going to take only the teal and go back and forth here until it looks nice and blended. Again, I'm having to go lower than I planned. It's because it just wasn't blending right for me. So it's just a lot of back and forth until you get that gradual fade where one color blends into the next. I'm going to take only blue again. Do a little bit more. Remember, this sky is slightly different from this one that I did, my original sample. And now I'm getting closer to that circle. I'm just trying not to paint on it. If you do, that's okay. You at least want to see your lines. I just want to try something. I want to see if I can see my line. No, I can't really see it. So you want to try to not paint on that if at all possible. So again, you're just going back and forth. So now I'm going to take the blue and I'm going to take some purple. So blue and purple. And it's okay, it's no longer a perfect circle. If you're not getting the blend here, mine actually worked well that time. If it's not blending well together at this point, take some more of that dark blue and blend that together. Okay, so now I'm taking only purple and a whole lot of purple. And I'm getting closer to the top. If you're not towards the top, just make this portion larger. And you can think about your sky and how you want it. You might want yours to look different from mine, and maybe you want a larger section of dark blue, or Whatever you decide, you might want it slightly different. We might have to redraw this, we might have to retrace that circle. This one I did opposite, where I painted it first and then I did the circle. That might work out better. Of experimenting with art, so it's a lot of trial and error. You try something, and if it works, it works, and if it doesn't, you have to do some problem solving, figure out how to fix it, which happens a lot. Okay, so now I'm taking only the dark blue, and where this purple meets the blue and purple, I'm going to go back and forth until it looks blended. I'll take some more blue on the other side. Yeah, I think we will have to redraw that circle, but that's okay. So I'm just going up and down until everything blends together. Next I'm going to take purple, and I'm going to take some black this time. So this one's going to be darker than the other one that I had. So purple, black. And where that, the black mixed with the purple, where it hits the solid purple, I'm going to take just purple and just go back and forth until that looks like it blends together. Next I'm going to take only black, and I'm going to fill in the rest, okay? So this one's a little bit darker. It's actually, it's strange because it's lighter on the bottom and it's darker on the top. That's just how it ended up. So the last painting we did had a circle in the middle, and we did the blending different. This one we're just doing it kind of like a line straight across instead of like circles going round and round. You can do this in any direction, however you want. And the more you practice, the better you'll get. I'm going to take a little purple to try to fix. There's this spot here where it doesn't look blended. Okay. For this next part, if you happen to have a brush that has either a brush that has like harder bristles, or this might sound a little silly, if you have an old toothbrush, not the toothbrush you use on your teeth, please don't use that one. But if you have an old toothbrush, or if you have another paintbrush that has hard bristles, would be the best. If you don't have that, your regular paintbrush should work. Or you might just want to do the dots individually, where you just, and it's for the stars. And it reminds me of the galaxy painting that we did before. I'm going to grab a different brush really quick. Also, if you don't have a brush right now and you want to come back and do this part later, you can. This is, I didn't put one of these in your bag just because I didn't have enough. This has harder bristles, and what I'm going to do, I'm going to dip that in the white. And if you were here when we did the galaxy paintings last year, some of you were, some of you weren't. So the next step, I'm going to try to get some of this paint off, actually, because I don't want too much. And then I'm taking my hand and I'm wrapping it around, and I'm putting my thumb on top, and then I'm going to pull my thumb back, and then I'm going to slowly let go. And what that's doing is creating a look kind of like stars. I don't want too much paint on there, because if I have too much, sometimes it creates little lines. It actually happened a few times on this one. See, a couple lines, but like I said, there's a lot of practice. A toothbrush works good too. You just would do the same thing, where you put your hand around it and you put it in the white, get some of that paint off. and then you're just flicking the other paint on it. And you can do as many as you want. If you want a lot, just keep going. If you are happy with how many you have, you can stop. Also, if you want no stars, you don't really have to do this part. Okay, so very hard to see. Let me get the light off of this so you can probably see better like that. I'll put it a little closer. So what that did, it created these little stars. Okay, so the next thing we want to do is either completely clean your brush, um, and then try to get all the water out of it by wiping it with a paper towel. Or you could take a fresh brush if you have it, and then what we're doing is the circle. So if you need to retrace it, you can. So we're doing the moon right now. And notice how I have a real lot of paint. And it's picking up some of those other colors. It's okay. I'm trying to not have too much get on there. Notice how it's becoming more like a light gray. And some blues in there. So I'm pretty much just mixing around and around. I'm going to take a little bit of blue, not a lot, put it in this middle part here. And notice how I'm kind of dabbing like that. So now I am either, well, you know what, I could just wipe this brush, that would work. I'm trying to get it where you could see a little bit better what I'm doing. I know it's hard because it's upside down. I'm gonna take only white, and I'm taking a lot of white. And what I'm doing, I'm globbing that on. Look at how much it is, it's a lot. And I'm trying to go around these edges here. I keep going around and around. I'm trying to get my circle shape. It's hard to get it a perfect circle because as we were doing the sky, then we lost some of that shape that we traced. So if you need to retrace your shape, feel free to do that too. So basically I'm taking white, trying to get a real lot in the, oh, I just tripped, that's okay. I'm trying to take a real lot, and the reason I want a real lot is because I want that white to look like white. I don't want it to look like that light purple color or gray that we're kind of getting, or light blue that we're kind of getting because of the background. Okay, so I have a whole lot of paint here. Okay, so now that I just traced all my edges around and around, now I'm just going through and dabbing the brush up and down. So the middle of your moon is, it should be a little darker, your outer edges, you want it to be kind of pretty vibrant white, pretty bright white. I'm just noticing that my shape is off by a little bit. I might even go through this when this dries to fix the shape, just to keep it really, really white. And if you're blending too much, you could go back in with white at a later time, okay? So the next thing I'm doing is I'm taking black, only black this time. And what I'm making is some kind of a cliff. Now, the shape of this, it comes off of the side, so I think it should come off of the side. The shape that you decide to do that's up to you. But what I do want is for your line to start at the edge of the canvas and go through the moon to about here, okay? And you could do it a little bit lower if you want than that. Actually, I wish I did it a little bit lower now that I'm thinking about it, but it's okay. So I'm just doing this line. And then from this bottom corner, I'm going to go up. And I'm just kind of doing this curvy line with only black. I'm using kind of a lot of black paint. And then I'm going to stop at that corner. Now, because this is so wet, now normally I would wait for this to dry, but because of time, I'm not doing that. I have a ton of black paint on here, and I am globbing it on because I don't want to mix this all together. I just want it to look black. What you might have to do, because it probably will look gray unless you use a really ton of paint, if it starts to look gray, just go back to it maybe tomorrow or later on in the night, and just do another coat of paint on it. That happens a lot where you have to add more black. See how it's turning gray for me? That's okay. And I'm just going to fill in the rest here. Again, this is just solid black. If you have a larger brush would work better for this. It keeps wanting to, because my background is so wet, again, I would usually do this when this is dry. Because my background's so wet, the blue is also coming through here, so I definitely will probably want to do another coat of black on this. So once you have the whole thing painted black, you're going to take some white. Get that a little better. Okay, you're going to take your brush has black on it right now, and you're going to take some white, and you're just going to go across this top here. I'm going to do it one more time. And kind of do it going back and forth a little bit. And that's just kind of adding some dimension to the top here, and this is where we're going to put that tree. And if you have a different idea, you don't have to do the tree. Maybe you want a person standing there, like a shadow of a person. Maybe you want something different. If you do want something different, that's okay. You don't have to do that exactly how I'm doing it. Okay. So for the tree, I'll take this brush. I'm doing that in black. We're actually working on trees right now in art, so I talked to you about the shapes in a tree, and I talked to you about the letter Y. and how the letter Y is in the shape of trees throughout the tree. So if you look at these first lines I'm doing, it's a letter Y, and I'm splitting it off. I'm gonna make this a base, so like the trunk of my tree, and I'm trying to not put my arm on the canvas. You probably see that. I already did that. So if you do another one of these and you do it on your own, let this dry, let your background dry first, because it just keeps wanting to blend with everything in that background. I'm gonna thicken this branch. What I'm doing on this paper is I'm just kind of wiping off I felt like I had way too much paint. I'm trying to keep my line kind of skinny here. You could also do your lines curvy too if you want. They don't have to be straight. Lots of tree branches have straight line or curvy lines too. I'm doing this pretty small, depending on how you did the size of your moon. If your moon is huge, maybe you want your tree bigger. And again, that's up to you. Yours is going to look different. If you have a really, really skinny brush, that would be awesome for this. Okay, I'm actually gonna let that kind of try to dry a little bit, and I'm gonna go to my bottom. Just fix this really quick. Yeah, because it is. I just hit it again. Try your best not to put your arm on the wet painting. I just did it again. Okay, so the next thing we're doing is this bottom here. Now for this one, I did more like trees. And to do that, I'll show you a couple different things, okay? So to do my trees, I just did like a line going down. So I did a whole bunch of lines going down, up and down like this. And then I just kind of went back and forth with my brush to turn them into little trees, and it went wider and wider on the bottom. And then this very bottom, I dabbed it with only black just to look like there was more stuff going on. And you can experiment with different paintbrushes if you have them. And I'm just kind of going back and forth. This looks a little different from some of the other trees I did on the other one, just showing you different ideas. So they can look more like a blob, or they can have space. You could do some trees down here that are more similar to what we have up on the top if you want to add in some extra trees like down here. And I'm just dabbing just with the black. That's all I'm using because I'm creating those silhouettes. Remember, a silhouette is like a shadow of an object. Another option, what you might want to do is maybe you want to create more like a city and you want to do some buildings. And this could even be like the city of Chicago, or whatever you decide. So if you're doing that, you would just basically do a whole bunch of rectangles rectangles and squares, things like that. That's how you would create a city if that's what you wanted. And this is just, I'm just showing you basically what you would do. And you could look at a skyline, look at the city of Chicago and look at um, what those buildings actually look like. And this I might need to do an extra coat of paint too. And I'm just doing this out of my head. I'm not looking at anything. But if you want to look at something, you can. So another option, and you can combine all of these things if you want to. And then another option is if you want to maybe do, instead of a city, maybe you want to do like houses and you want it to be like a little village at the bottom. Um, if you want to do that, I'm going to add a couple more trees going up to my city here. So we were going from a little forest and we're going into the big city. And again, I'm just dabbing up and down. Okay, so if I wanted to do houses, I would just do that basic shape of a house, which is kind of like about pretty much like a triangle. And maybe I'll give this one a little chimney. That house is actually pretty big in comparison to these buildings, but this is just to show you the basic shapes. So if you wanted, you could do more houses down here and just draw a whole bunch of them, and maybe in between your houses, maybe you have some trees going on. And again, for the trees on the top, I'm just dabbing. Maybe I want to put some bushes down here too. Some other things. So you decide what you want to do. Maybe you want a little park in here. A little park. Actually, I'm not going to do that because this brush is too thick. I'm just going to turn this into another tree. I'm going to do trees for the rest. And okay, so I'm going to take more black and I'm just kind of going back and forth. So my bottom, I'm going across the whole bottom with the black, just dabbing it. So be creative, think about what you could add in here. These are just some examples. You definitely are not limited to this. This one, like I said, I was putting a whole lot down here just to give you some other ideas. This one, remember, I did just these trees down here. Think about that sky too. There's a lot of options you can do in that sky. Maybe hot air balloon or regular, maybe a regular balloon just floating in the sky. Just think about what you can do. So this bottom is a little bit different from the other one. It just was a different idea. I have a whole bunch of ideas. Maybe I want a tree branch coming off the side here, like maybe there's a big tree over here. You decide what you want to do. So this one, I'm trying to, without putting my arm back on here, I'm trying to go through and fix some of these branches because it was too wet, and it's actually still pretty wet. Because of time, I'm gonna have to show you this while it's wet. But remember, you could wait if you want. If you want this to be more like a winter tree, you could extend your branches a little more. I planned on doing it more like it has some kind of leaves or flowers on it. This one I did with white and pink, so I took white first and I dabbed it all over this, and then I did the same with pink. I probably should let it dry a little bit and then go back over it with white and pink in some spots. Okay, and remember, I'm gonna, once this dries, I'm gonna try to fix my shape here and make it a little more straighter. The edges are not that good. Okay, so now what I'm gonna do, I'm deciding what color do I want my tree, how do I want that, what colors do I want. I like how this pink turned out. I think it's kind of cool, but you can pick what you want. I'm gonna grab some yellow, orange, and red. Okay, so I'm dipping my brush in white. That my white has a lot of black in it. I'm trying to get some of that. Yeah, my background's still very, very wet. Notice all the purple here. This is orange that I'm going with. I really think you should let your moon dry. But if you want to do it along with me, feel free. And even if you're going along with me, and later on you want to go back, then you can go back, and which I'll probably do the same. This might look different. I'm gonna take some yellow. And again, I'm trying to get some of it out. I have kind of a lot of purple on here, which I really don't want. Okay, now I'm going in with yellow. I'm actually going to take a little more of this orange color. Okay, next I'm going to take red. And I'm wiping some of it off. I have a lot. I don't want that much. And notice how I'm just dabbing up and down. And again, once this dries, you'll go back over it again, just to brighten some of those colors. Everything's just kind of mixing together and it's starting to turn more of like this ugly brown. I'm going to do one more round of yellow here. I just dripped my yellow on my cliff. Okay, so now I feel like for the rest of it I have to let it dry more. I'm gonna have to touch up. So yeah, I dripped some yellow here, so I'm gonna touch that up. But like I said, I really want this to dry more. Some of this, like the solid black, I could go back in here and darken some of that. But overall, most of this I'm gonna have to go back in when it's dry to fix it. And I'm gonna want to retrace this tree again once this is all the way dry. I'll do a little right now. Okay, for the rest I'm just gonna let it dry. Another color you could go back in with if you decide, you could go in with white up here too. That might brighten things up a bit. And I'll do that again when it's dry. Everything is getting way too mixed up over here. Okay. So this is what it looks like. Again, remember we're gonna go back over that again. That you'll do on your own. When you're all the way done, make sure you post your art in Seesaw. Remember, there's a number of ways you can do this. It doesn't have to look exactly like mine. This background is slightly different. Sorry, that's very crooked. That background on this one is slightly different. It looks like I got some orange paint on here accidentally too. That kind of stuff happens. And I just put more black on it. Whoops. Okay, so I'll have to go back over that too in that spot. If you did something like that, let me just show you what I would do to fix it. I'm gonna grab some water and a paper towel. So I'm just gonna go over that spot really light with the wet paper towel, and then I'll just have to go here. I am lucky because it's a lot of blacks in here, so I could even just make that a taller tree and work with what happened here. And then in here I'll just have to go back through again with the blues to try to get the color match back up. That's a little more challenging. But so that's what we did today. If you have any questions, please reach out to me. I'll show you these. These will be dry and touched up by the time I see you. All right. Good luck. Have fun.